from the White House, courthouse, to the church house. God is cleaning all three houses. But what about our own house? You know, life and religion has caused great trauma to the souls of warriors. And with all this information readily available, where is the revelation that will heal the souls of the wounded warriors? Well, it's time to raise up the shields of warriors. This is the Way of a Warrior, Unbreakable Love podcast. I'm Gina Guy Warren. Welcome. I'd like to say hello, James. Well, I'm going to do an introduction here to all of our listeners. I'd like to welcome all the warriors that are watching and listening by podcast today. And this is my first episode on the series that I'm going to be launching on MMA fighters and executive protection agents, all about warrior mindsets. So I'm real excited to learn from all of these warriors. They're just phenomenal mixed martial artists, and they have amazing professional careers. So I'm super excited to get into this with them. But first, I'd like to introduce, for the first time on the Way of the Warrior Unbreakable Love podcast, my husband, Brian, Mr. Unbreakable Warren. So welcome, Brian. This is the first time he's been on my podcast. So I'm real excited to have him join today. And just a little bit of a background on his fight career before we get into our amazing guest that's joining us as well, for all of you that are listening via podcast. Brian's career began with his first underground fight in Mexico at the El Rancho Santa Fe in Tijuana at the age of 24. He fought in K1 USA, Strikeforce, Bellator. Brian's had many amateur and pro kickboxing, Muay Thai fights, and his official MMA record is 18 wins, 18 losses, and 1 draw. Brian has fought at many different weight classes, but most of his wins at a 170-pound, the welterweight division. And he holds 2 championship belts in King of the Cage and Gladiator Challenge. And he has fought world-class fighters, including Kung Lee, Ben Saunders, Buddy Clinton, Jake Shields, Jeremy Horn, Jason Mayhem Miller, and Caro Parisian. Please forgive me if I'm messing up that name. Carl, thank you. Come on, I'm trying my best, Mrs. Unbreakable on this end. And Brody Farber. And it goes without saying, our distinguished guest today, James.
You fought a lot of people on my do not fight list.
Yeah. James, the educator, Fanshier. So a little bit on James before we have him come on, and I'm so excited to hear from him today for sure. So James started fighting in his teens, and just as any teenager, wild and trying to figure out who they are, he got into the industry at 16 years old, and he began wrestling. He's literally accumulated over 200 matches on the mat, and it became an easy transition into San Sho, and he wrestled in college with UFC fighter Kung Lee. And James fought many world-class fighters such as Tony Ferguson, Ronald Jun, Chris Lieben, James Lee, Joey
Villasenor,
Shannon Rich, our good friend. Shout out to Shannon Rich, Jerry Metcalf,
Jeremiah Metcalf.
Thank you. I'm so glad I have the warrior right next to me.
Maybe we should read these names.
Because I am just chopping them up. But I'll tell you, I'm going to chop up this podcast with these warriors. There's a reason why I'm launching Mindset Warrior podcast right now. So I'm going to get into all that. But so thank you for the grace and the mercy as I go through these names. But, you know, James holds a record 18 wins, 12 losses, 1 professional kickboxing match, 22-2 as an amateur. 2 professional.
One was a win, one was a draw.
Oh, come on. And he was even, listen to this, Warrior listeners out there, podcast listeners. He was even on the TV show American Gladiator. So
21 years old.
It's my honor to introduce you, James Fanshier. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I
was like, oh yeah, I did fight that guy.
I'm telling you.
Just a question. I didn't fight when I was 16. That's when I first found the wrestling mat. I had my first amateur kickboxing match at 27. But leading up to that, I was a mat rat every weekend at the freestyle locals and just coaching and competing when I was younger. And then I got into kickboxing like 26, 27 years old.
I love that. So you hear this, listeners? I mean, listen, these guys, they know where they've been. They know what they've done. And they're like, don't get it messed up. This is
sorry.
Don't get it messed up. But I want to say this. I want to start off with this, James, because I want to tell you, listeners, both of these professional fighters, obviously my husband, in the past 11 years, I've got to hurt a lot, but they both warriors express specific statements to me. Especially James, the educator, Fanshier, in our pre-interview, he made an express statement that really went into my spirit, and it made me think of one that my husband's made. And I want to say this. I say both of these professional fighters have key statements that I learned pre-interview. James expressed he was in the middle of a fight, and he heard the words of a training partner in his head. Gonna throw punches until I die. Now, if you're driving, listening to this podcast, just 2 hands on the wheel. If you're viewing this, shout out. Like, this is why I want to talk about warrior mindsets. Who says I'm going to throw punches until I die? And then Brian said this: my strength is my heart. I won't give up until the match is over. My hands are raised, or I'm carried out on a stretcher. So I look forward to examining the mindsets a little bit further in this interview. And let's all tune in closely to what these men speak about. Did you hear what I said? Tune in, tune your ear in, tune your spirits in, turn your soul, which is your mind, will, and your emotions. Tune it all in, because I really want to hear what these men have to speak and how we can personally apply what you two mighty men, you mighty warriors, what you have experienced. How can we as listeners apply this warrior mindset to our everyday lives? And I want to say this, James, there's no doubt all of us are in a fight for our lives in this time and the season that we're in, no matter where anybody comes from, what perspective they come from, religious background, none of that matters. Everybody's in a fight right now. We're all in a cage fighting, and each one of our cages looks different than the other. But without a doubt, we have to understand that our lives are on the line and our families' lives are on the line. And before I get into the mindset with my dear brother, I want to read what I put, because, gentlemen, because when you guys take off, it's going to be full gas. I already know that. I'm excited to hear you guys just banter back and forth. But I want to say something to the listeners, because some of you may have tuned in and thought, well, yeah, no, that's not my thing. I don't get in a cage. No one's going to beat me up. That's just not my thing. But I want to read you an excerpt from my book that I wrote, The Word and the Workout: Prophetic Insight into Physical, Emotional, and Spiritual Fitness, the Way of a Warrior. And I want to say this: warriors still exist today. Their armor has changed. It's not shiny, nor is it impressive. They are clothed in humility, totally unassuming. Be careful not to overlook them. They are approaching the front lines, battle-tested, fierce, and loyal. You're going to need them in this final hour. That's why I'm launching this podcast. We are going to need these men and these women, I'm telling you. So right now I'm going to play a quick clip from their fight from 2006. Gentlemen, this was 19 years ago. And then James, I'm just going to look forward to hearing from you as soon as this clip plays. So just,
All right.
yeah. Oh, they didn't load it up.
That's crazy. 19 years ago.
Right?
That is crazy. I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, what, does anybody care anymore? So long ago. It is a fun fight, though.
Hey, James, I talked to my wife about this morning. I was like, this was a huge fight for me.
For me as well.
And the mindset going into it, I was like, I mean, we're going to talk about that, but I was like, you know, you look back that many years later, and here we are on a podcast talking about it. But at the same time, preparing for that fight,
there you go.
Just the mental part of it, it brought me to a whole nother level because you're such a good opponent and such a very hard opponent to train for because there's nobody out there with your style. So we had to totally make some modifications, and it wasn't easy. And obviously, after they see some of the fight clip here, they're going to see why it wasn't so easy.
There you go. We're going to play that fight clip right now for you.
Right after I got caught with a hot one. Now, Doc runs in to stop it, and I yell at him, "Don't you stop it." And he backed off. He's like, "All right, get your butt kicked." I don't know. Can I curse here? I wouldn't.
Hey, you be yourself, Warrior.
All right. All right, get your. Oh, that's a good one.
You.
That was the fight stopper.
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
That was when I was like super concussed and just imagining my pad partner in front of me and caught the high kick. My buddy Randy in the background, he's in this shot, he's younger than my son. So, like he's younger in that picture than my son today. It's so funny.
Wow. So those of you who are listening by podcast, we played a fight clip from these two amazing warriors from 2006, which was 19 years ago. 19 years ago. So James, watching that clip, what does that stir up? What do you remember? Actually, I think one of the questions that I have is when you found out your opponent was going to be Brian, Mr. Unbreakable Warren, what were your first thoughts coming into it? This is who I'm going to face. This is my fight. Tell us what you were thinking.
I thought it was going to be a very competitive matchup. I didn't think it had it was one of these pick'em fights, which is exciting, right? Like I've gone in to fights thinking I'm the complete underdog, which I preferred, and then I would go into fights like completely nervous of where I'm the huge favorite in this fight, and that actually put a lot more pressure on me. And so with Brian, it was definitely a pick'em fight. I mean, they didn't do lines back then, meaning betting lines back then of the King of the Cage shows. But I thought it was a pick'em fight, and I just had to train. Now I train, bring my tools to the table. What did we decide? This fight was in August, I think. And the secret that my opponents and the community didn't realize is every time I fought in August, I got a true, legit 12-week professional fighter training camp, and that's because in the summer, instead of teaching summer school, I was training as a professional fighter, where the rest of the year, training was quite a bit more difficult. I would I was teaching middle school at the time, coach the wrestling team, and then go do my training in the evening. So in August, I came out of a full training camp. I had all the confidence, but I knew it was a pick'em fight, and I had to bring everything that I had to be successful in that match.
Did your students know what you did?
What's funny about middle school? I have a funny story about middle school kids. When I first started fighting, I was teaching summer school, and this big old lineman kid came in from lineman camp, just a monster. And this is at the high school level. I was teaching some summer school math or something. This kid comes up, big old kid, and he says, "Man, I heard that you do mixed martial arts or something like that. Is that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, and here are the rules." Back then, people didn't even know the rules. I was like, "Oh, it's legal in kickboxing, it's legal in wrestling, it's legal in this." And then, I gave him a brief, 2002 explanation of what mixed martial arts was about. And then this big old lineman kid goes, cool. You tell the same story to a middle school kid, he goes, I can kick your so they have no clue. But in my PE office there, I did have, fight posters up, a couple, and the kids knew I was the wrestling coach, and they really the middle school kids, the 8th graders, they don't have a perspective. So they did know, but it didn't resonate with them because their whole life is what's inside their head and their hormones and stuff like that.
Well,
so it wasn't a big deal.
And that what a statement. That the kids didn't I just send you a clip, Brian, the other day about this guy that says, I'm not a swearer, but my husband can say it, nobody gets their A kicked anymore. So, I think we need to get back to that and let people figure out, let the men be men. And I'm thinking, and it's interesting to hear James say that, is that this generation of kids, I can take you down. So what do you think about that, Brian?
They have no idea.
Well,
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to go, Brian? Because I speak on kids all day.
Yeah, no doubt. I do want to say this. So, you said that was your best, that in that frame of time, that month, and
the best version of myself.
Well, then I want to say I fought the best James Fanshier I possibly could have fought.
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh,
and I felt every bit of that, and that's what's crazy. So this is what I want to talk about. This is what I've been envisioning in my mind. Us, since we talked about coming on together, what will be the most beneficial thing? What can we draw out of? What can I draw out of James and draw out of me, and see what we did back those years ago and what we're talking about? And it was this. My mindset going into that fight, I wanted to fight the best James Fanshier that I possibly could, because I knew when I fought the better guys, it would bring something out better in me. So I in a way, I kind of felt like you might have had a slight edge on me. And, we talked about that wrestling.
Yeah, you said that in the pre-interview.
Yeah, and your kickboxing background, training with Kung Lee. I mean, people don't know that I fought Kung Lee less than a month before I fought you. And I was, I got knocked
Was
out
that a
the first.
kickboxing match or an MMA match?
It was MMA, but I had previously fought him in K1 in Vegas at the Bellagio. Right. And then when I fought him in Strikeforce up at the Shark Tank, we were the main event, and I got KO'd for the first time, and it messed me up mentally. Because I relied so much on my chin and being tough and whatnot. And then I was telling my wife I looked at some of the people that I fought, some of the people that you fought, and just remembering the timeline, how what my mindset was on each fight and why I took each fight. And when I fought you, I was like, okay, I just fought Kung Lee. What the heck? I might as well fight his, the guy that he trains with, and see if I can get a win over him.
Yeah, I wasn't training with him at the time, but that was but he was a buddy and a training partner and kind of my coach, 5 years earlier in the late 90s.
In my mind, I was thinking, I got to try to get something back from that one. I just got backed up by this guy, and this was his, training partner. Let me see if I can get a win over him, or at least do my best against, because I knew how good you were. And when Terry, the promoter for King of the Cage, brought your name up, he's like, the winner of this is going to fight for the belt. And I was like, man, that's super exciting. That puts me in line for it.
I think it was one of those things where he told you that, didn't tell me that.
See, he was trying. They know which buttons.
Yeah, they know.
Move the chessboard around, right?
That's right.
That's awesome. I mean, there you are on the mindset, right? So the statement you just made, I wanted to fight the best so I could be better. And I think, the reason for this whole mindset collaboration with executive protection agents, with mixed martial artists, fighters, is because you all hold something very different. You have an innate ability to go after. Well, I know for Brian, because his whole physical fight turned into, because then he became a pastor. So you've always said fighting evil. This whole now my innate ability to fight in a cage. Now I want to turn that focused anger and those abilities on the enemy, taking down our kids, taking down, this woke generation, and just all. So the mindset what I heard you say, Brian, is I wanted to face James. I wanted to fight someone better so that I could be better.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to challenge myself. I've always wanted in many fights, like you were saying, the underdog, I don't know, you look at my fight list, I feel like I was an underdog in more than half those fights. But the challenge was always there, and I always wanted to challenge myself, and I never turned a fight down. And someone asked me, I was like, all right, let's do it. And of course, this is going to be the interesting part where we're talking about fear or being scared. There's a couple times where I had some fear. I was like, did I make a mistake by, taking on this guy too early, and just the training alone for some of those fights made me better. Obviously, the one for you. And
well,
me.
I'm similar. We have a similar mindsets, yet a little bit different, right? I could go through each one of my professional fights and go, oh, I learned this. Oh, I learned this. Oh, I learned this. And I started off in a spot when I had my very first fight. I had wrestling matches and kickboxing matches, so I had a little bit of awareness. I do remember the bell rings and he goes, all right, ding, ding, go to your corner. I'm like, I'm in a round room, and this dude told me to go in a corner. That was the thought that went through my head, and I had the wherewithal that I've seen. Have you everybody seen, like, bang, 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 fight, 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 and then ding, ding, and then the guy goes to the wrong corner? And
Yep.
I was like, I am not doing that. And because I was on top in side control when the bell rang, and I sat up, and I looked, because I only knew my cornerman for like a month maybe, right? And I'm like, oh, there they are. And then I went up because I did not want to go and wander around the ring, but that was because I had that experience and a little more experience. And after 10 years and 30 fights, you get to be pretty tough.
Yeah, no, not just physically, but mentally too. Because each one is different levels. Oh man. This is my thing. This is our thing. This is what we did. And obviously we share ring time together. And I always tell people like this, there's a famous quote out there. I don't even know who said it, but it says, you shed blood with me, forever you'll be my brother, or something like that. The respect that I have for all the guys I fought, depending on how it went before or whatever, during, but afterwards, it's something amazing because I remember I just wanted to give you a big hug after, I lost to you. I'm like,
yeah, I think there's pictures of that, of us like bloody and hugging.
Yeah, like who does that? Like after you just try to kill this guy, you're like, here you guys start trying to hug.
Dude, once I don't.
Right? It's a weird thing. You can't explain it unless you're in there doing it and have done it.
And that's it. So I think of one of the things I was remembering in our pre-interview, James, is something that really made an impact on me that you said, because I have a great respect for what you do. You are James, the educator. Fanshier, the educator.
I was a teacher way before I started fighting.
No, so this is why I think this collaboration, launching this first interview with the two of you really do come from two different spectrums, but you share this innate ability to be a warrior to whatever the degree is, that is in the two of you, or you would have never even entered into a cage and started punching and fighting and all that. But I thought about what you said, the tools. You said I had asked you, did you have fear?
Yeah, no, so we talked about the conversation was about fear. Are you ever scared going to the cage? And I really wasn't. Scared is, I don't know. I did like a 1-week training camp once with Randy Couture, and he had this whole mindset thing about, he goes, you don't want to be fear. He said, you want to be excited. So, and then we talked about the physical attributes of being scared and the physical attributes of being excited, whether you're nervous and sweaty, whatever. It's the same thing if you're excited. So if you just reframe that to being excited, if you reframe, like instead of saying scared, and basically his point was, it's the same thing. And if you just reframe it, like you just get lifted up and you're excited. But when we were talking about fear, the only thing I would ever say was I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to bring my tools to the table, whether that's from an adrenaline dump or from not having your pre-fight meal right, or overtraining, or there's all these factors that could prevent me from bringing my tool, undertraining, right? All these factors, gassing out, all these factors that would not allow me to bring my tools to the table will get in the way. It was more about me bringing my best than, I felt everybody on my record, all my losses, I had the ability to beat them. I just didn't bring my tools to the table. I didn't accomplish my goal. Try not to throw shade on anybody that beat me. They beat me fair and square. They brought their tools to the table and they were able to beat me. There was nobody, I can't think of anybody on my record where I had like no shot,
Yeah.
Well, that's power. I'd like you to explore that, Brian, because I mean, what he's saying is
That's good.
well, first of all, I literally wrote that down because what a great statement. I'm a good student when I have a good teacher. And I hope all of our podcasters and all of our listeners that are listening, I hope you're taking notes. I mean, when you've got warriors that have done something you haven't done, it's so important to hone in on what they're saying. And one of the keys that you just said was reframe the fear, reframe it. So I think all of us in life experience some type of fear to some degree, whatever that might be. But I love that you said, turn it to excitement. And that's a mindset. I know as a trauma counselor, I deal with, trust me, a lot of anxiety, people, depression, all across the board, and so many fears of everything. And that's what we try to teach them, right? Take that thought, bring it captive, make it obey you. Don't let your thoughts take control of your thoughts. Don't let your thought, so you take control of it. And that's what I'm hearing you say is, when I did lose, I look back and think there could have been more tools that I brought to the table, right, Brian?
Yeah. My mind's
I
already
know.
going. So for me, actually, how it went for me was I was scared, nervous, being invited. I didn't say no. I don't want to go down to Mexico and fight. But as soon as I hung up that phone, the butterflies came.
Oh man!
Instantly, I was like, "What did I just do?" But now you can't back out because it's your word. I gave my word. I'm going down there.
And you can get butterflies when you're excited too. So
that's true. And here's the crazy thing: how it shifted. So I get a few fights under my belt, and then all of a sudden I got 10, 15, 20 fights, and all of a sudden those butterflies turn into more of a, like you said, an excitement thing, because now I'm ready. Now I'm prepared. I've gone through all the scenarios and done all the training. I'm prepared mentally, not just mentally, but physically for whatever outcome happens. I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to go and do my best. And
for me and a lot of fighters, the actual competition is the dessert, right? Like you have the 12-week training camp, 20-week training camp, depending on how out of shape I am, or how soon you get the phone call or whatever's going on with your life. And then you train. And in the summer, I would try to get 12 workouts a week, which includes several double days and a day off. So that was my goal. And, but the competition was the dessert. And if you trained right, we did these rounds. I mean, everybody's done the shark bait rounds where you go, but our typical thing was, so it's a 5-minute round, right? So we would, if we're training for 3 5s, we would work up to like your first day of sparring, you only get one guy and you're like begging for more, right? And then we would get a new guy every 3 minutes. So you go 3 minutes and then you turn around and you have a new guy, no matter what, when that 3-minute drill, you just turn around and now you're fighting a new guy. So 3 and 3 is 6. And then you go to your corner, you get a 45-second rest instead of a minute rest. And then you go against, and then your teammates would have to roll back around and you'd see them a little bit later, and always a fresh guy, always with the new, with the new. And I remember getting through some training camps where I just beat everybody up in the gym, where like people didn't want to fight me when it came close to fight, didn't want to spar with me when it came close to fight time. We talked about that earlier. It may not be the best recommendation to beat up your friends every week or twice a week, but that's how it was back then. I think the modern day guy is doing a lot less hard sparring, but back then, like, I look forward to Tuesday and Thursday nights when we got to go full goes.
Yeah, that's how we did it. That's what we knew. Just a quick brief. I remember our Shark Tank fighters used to go down and train at the Ken Shamrock's Lions Den, and there's a couple funny. I'm gonna go real fast with this one.
Oh, you got time.
But the first time I went there, so much admiration. Ken Shamrock staring down at us from his little platform as we walk in. Much respect. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I'm at the Lions Den. I've seen him on UFC, all the stuff, starstruck. And then they put us through the Shark Tank training, 5-minute rounds. The second time I go, I end up fighting Ken Shamrock for the first 5 minutes. He gets full mount in about 30 seconds. It's just James. He just punched me in the head for 5 minutes straight, and that was number one. And if you survive that, you got to fight Vernon the Tiger White. You got to fight Tony Galindo. Pete Williams. These monsters.
I remember those names.
They're trying to knock you out in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was scarier fighting those guys than it was one single person that I had to fight. But I remember leaving that time with a concussion, the birdie's spinning around, and I'm just running into walls. And I'm thinking, after day number 3, if this still goes on, I'm going to the hospital to get it checked out. But that's how we did it back in the day. Nobody knew. And then, that probably didn't make a very long fight career, but that's what we did back then to train.
Yeah, what's funny is people say, "Oh, you're a fighter. You must like to get hit." I'm like, no, I just like to hit people more than I'm trying to get out of the way. I don't like to get hit.
Yeah, no, just watch our fight. He likes to hit people.
And kick them.
Right? Hey, listen, I'm going to describe our fight real quick because that was the most damage I've ever done.
You describe our fight from your perspective, and I'll describe our fight from my perspective.
Who wants to go first? I'm going to let you go first because
James,
you go first.
please, let our special
You're
guest.
the host.
James, go for it. That's what I was saying when we played that. That's when I played the clip. I wanted to know what was that stirring, going back 19 years, putting yourself back in that time and what you were thinking and what you were feeling and what was going on.
I mean, let's see. I mean, from the travel down there, I had already had a couple of big fights that they'd promoted. I won my King of the Cage title, maybe a year or maybe I guess 2-3 years earlier. And coming into the cage, and I don't think we ever really spoken to each other, like maybe in passing, prior to it. So obviously we knew who each other was, and I'm standing on the platform, and because you lived down there, you had a full promo where they interviewed you and coming out with the American flag. And what's funny about that clip is we have enough similar look that people think I didn't know you had tattoos. No, that's the opponent. That's not me, right? So we do the whole thing, and you have your promo, and then I don't know. I remember being on the platform watching your promo. I'm guessing you were already in the cage and watching on the screen, and I forget what it was. It was you had said something like, "Oh, it's gonna be a good one," or something to this effect. I'm like, "That's right, let's go." And so I'm on the platform, come down, come in. Oh, and then that's right. You had one of my former opponents, and we had it was a bitter rivalry. We were smack talking on the MySpace at the time. That was Thomas Denny, and who I think I have a quote in your book. I'm like, what the hell? Jesus has the devil in his corner now, right? With Brian Warren picking up Thomas Denny as I don't think he's the devil, right? But it was an analogy of the time, right? So he's got my former dude I fought twice, and in his corner, and then it's let's go, bring the tools to the table, boom, boom, boom. And, and I feel like I'm controlling the distance. It's not as much of a knockdown as it cause my goofy style, adds trips and sweeps and half takedowns, but I don't want to go on top too much. I have the anti-jiu-jitsu float, and things are going my way. Collar tie uppercuts, collar tie elbows, change the side. I'm doing good. And then I'm like, all right, well, cool. I forget how the rounds go. I think I got out of the first round hey, I think I won that round. And usually I don't. Yeah. Usually I don't think my teammates like, you totally won that round. What are you talking about? I'm like, really? He hit me, So, but I remember leaving the first round, going, I think I won that round. And memory is weird, right? Because you look at how much is memory from the actual fight and how much is memory from after seeing the clip later. And so then you hit me with the hot overhand, and I said the space between the time between getting cracked and going against the wall, and that was the first time I had gotten like time gone in any fight. So I got cracked, hit the fence. Now I'm underneath, and you're on top with the ground and pound, and I'm like, oh no! And then instead of blocking, I'm scooching, trying to scooch. So now you're just wearing them. Now I'm just wearing them, and I see the fight. I see Doc come in, and I'm like, don't you stop it. And, my teammates only see your back and just dropping bombs. And they're like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then my cornerman says he heard me yell at the ref, don't you stop it. And all right, so scooch around. You go for the rear naked. I get up, and I'm like, oh man, that was a good one. And then we collided heads. So then there was another gap of time that I didn't remember until I saw the fight later. And then I'm just, oh no. Okay, just keep throwing combinations. And so I was literally just imagining, like, not the fighter Brian Warren in front of me, but my teammate Randy Hickman, who holds the pads for me. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, kick, 1, 2, 3, low kick, 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going. And then I stepped and I zigged and you zagged, and I caught the skipping shin kick. Like, Kung Lee takes them and turns them over and knocks you out this way. I don't have that dexterity, and they just come and skip off of my kicks. Just came up and at a goofy angle and skips off of heads, and I caught it just right. And then we go into the pummeling, and I just remember the slickness and the blood everywhere, and I was like, oh God, I hope that's his blood. And, and then they reach in and stop the fight. And I was like, oh, please tell me it's over. Please tell me it's over. And then I'm like drying. I was just like, there's like fingerprints of blood finger paint across my chest and his body. And then they stopped the fight. And I remember Brian's eye was like so swollen up, and I was like, oh, okay, like, that doesn't look good. I'm like, come on, please stop it. He can't see out of that eye. I know it. So, and then they stopped it, and then that was the end. And so what was good about that fight to watch as a fan is for me, it plays out like a professional wrestling match. Me being the hero, you're always the hero in your own journey. Brian being the heel, even though many people would think it's the other way around, especially going down into his hometown. And I'm like, I was ahead. Oh no, the champ is down. It's almost over. And then to come back and win, that's how every Hulk Hogan match ever was, right? So it plays out like that. So it was a very special fight, and all my 32 fights, professional fights. It played out really nice, got a lot of press, got put up on YouTube. And YouTube was kind of early. It's like early YouTube time. I made mention of like the MySpace days, right? So this will give a little bit of history there.
That's awesome, Brian. I mean, his memory of all that, how do you perceive this?
Well, I was pissed because I couldn't. You wouldn't.
Wait, we gotta start from the beginning.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
You start at the end.
I went right into like where I was.
You're mad at me? No, you gotta start at the beginning.
No.
Tell me about this. Start with the promo, like I did. Like
the promo. Well, there's a couple things. It's funny because the fight game, you try to get every psychological advantage you can. So I brought Thomas Denny, knowing that he was, you guys had fought twice, and I think he was the champ. Now he beat. You won the second time or first time?
He won the second time.
Okay, so he had the belt.
But I don't think he was currently the champ at the time. I don't think that was. I think he had since lost it. It was enough time had passed that he had since lost. I think he lost it to, if I'm not mistaken, Matt Danzig, who ended up going to the UFC. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about that.
So I brought him in because I'm like, he just, trained up the hill from us, not too far, 30, 45 minutes away. And I brought him in because I know he had that win over you. But knowing that what I know now, I'm like, man, was that a good idea? Because that added more fuel to you.
I don't think it added fuel. I just think it was like annoying and funny. Like, I'm a pretty tough nut to crack. Like, talking is gonna hurt my feelings. Come on now.
But what's crazy is our fight was playing out a little bit like your fight with him, and you say that they stopped the fight early, and now that we fought, and then I got the knockdown, and you came back from that, and people are telling you, wow, they probably did stop that fight early with Thomas Denny.
Right. Yeah, I did mention that in our pre-interview, right? Like, I thought they stopped a little early. I don't want to take anything to Thomas. He caught me with my heels square, put me on my back, and Herb jumped in to stop it. I tell those middle school wrestlers, I'm like, hey, if you don't want the ref to call a pin, don't be on your back. And I was on my back, and he called the pin. So I can complain, but I can't complain.
Yes, and he kept, during our fight, you could hear him in the corner, throw the right hand. And then it wasn't until, so here's now where this is what I've never been held down on my back for a whole round. And I'm thinking, man, I'm already down one round. So no matter how this fight goes, if he gets a slight edge in the second round, it's over. I'm losing this fight. So I was mad or pissed off, to say the least. That
after the first round, you're saying?
Yeah, after the first round, I couldn't get up. I knew I lost the first round. And so going into the second round, all in my mind, all I'm thinking, James, is now's my shot. Like I now have a shot to even this up. And then, we're fighting. You come out hard in the first or second round. I take a few shots. And all right, let me go to one of my bread and butter. I switch my stance and I'm gonna throw it over the top. And it landed. And that's when you
do you normally, I don't even remember, do you normally stand southpaw? Is that?
I switch it up back and forth. But normally I don't.
Yeah. There's no like constant spot.
No. Yeah, normally I don't, but for this one I don't. I mean, here's the thing. I'm rocked. I really can't see out of my eye anyways. And I'm just like, I need to throw something. I need to throw this Hail Mary. So I landed it, but now here's the thing. I honestly thought the referee was going to stop the fight. So I just was throwing as many punches as I could just to keep them going.
Yeah, like the little rabbit showy punches.
Yeah. Knowing what I would know, if I would have maybe put a little bit more on, a couple more, but he didn't stop it. I was like, why isn't he stopping the fight? That's what I was thinking while this is going on. And then my corner goes, take his back. The worst thing you could possibly say. We're all slippery. I slide off.
I know. It's like
I'm like, who the hell says that? Like, who gave me that advice? Because you're trusting your corner, right?
Oh,
I'm trying to get up. And like, whoops, slid right out the back door. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Like, here I am on my back again, man. And then we get up, and then we clash heads, and I didn't think you were gonna survive that, but you did. And then I was thinking, I didn't even remember us doing the headbutt until I watched the fight later. I'm like,
I didn't remember. I definitely didn't remember. That part of the fight just didn't exist for me.
Yes, and I didn't even know until afterwards. Like, we're such in the moment, right? Just going at it, and then you throw that. I guess I couldn't see the kick because my eye was closed, and it just blasted me upside the head.
Yeah, it was just a 1-2, and so you get like a little, anybody's throwing punches like a little feint.
That was sweet. It could not have been any more perfect, obviously. Like they said, that's a fight stopper, and it sure was. And I was thinking, man, why just in my mind? This is the stupid fighter's mentality. I'm already hurt. I'm already bleeding. Just let it finish off a couple more. We're already bloody. Let's just let it go until the bell rings. But obviously, that would have been way too much blood. I was leaking pretty bad.
Well, then the eye thing I think was more of an issue. If you were totally clean with just the cut, then they probably would let that go, right? But it was from the collar tie uppercuts, collar tie elbows in the first round.
You don't even know this. I honestly thought I was going to lose my eye. After that, no, honestly, because it would not stop swelling up. The way it looked after that fight, it was twice as big as that at the hospital. I was like, they're like, the doctors were worried. They're like, we got to do something about this. It's not going down.
Well, that's a good thing they stopped it when they did. They probably could have stopped it earlier.
Yeah.
Like before the head kick, right? Stopped it just on the, hey, look at me. No, this fight's over, right? I mean, I think so now I mentioned before in our pre-interview, now I get to ref some of the Indian reservations and stuff out here. I was doing the amateurs, and then now I'm mostly strictly doing the res shows. I stop it way earlier, right? The fights don't last. They don't go that long. That's what we're being told to by the ABC and the California Commission. It's just not the same as it was, 20 years ago.
Yes.
Everything's switched up.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, it's for the safety of the fighters, I'm starting to, my social media feeds full. I mean, my YouTube feeds full of like, where are they now, fighters? And I'm like, that dude's in jail. That dude killed somebody. Like what, that dude, can't walk down the road because of CTE. It's a sad affair.
Yes.
For some of those guys that were the tier above us,
Yes.
You fought a lot of those dudes on that list.
I'm looking at the list. Justin Levens, killed his girlfriend, took himself out, killed himself, fought him. I can just look at these names, like where are these guys at now?
Yeah, don't do that. That's too depressing, man.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's where it is, and that's where I hope our listeners are really enjoying this banter back and forth with these fighters, because I mean, you just sit back and you listen, you glean so much wisdom. I always say it's better just to be quiet and listen, to not speak and be silent, hear what people have to say, because out of your heart your mouth speaks. And it's amazing, you guys have heart. I mean, you just have heart to do what you've done. And again, the purpose of this podcast, this particular series on the MMA fighters, the warrior mindset, is it's my hope that what you have taken from the past, we can bring into the future and help somebody that's really is struggling, and they're in their own battle. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, every cage looks different. But I'm going to tell you right now, everybody is in a fight. Everybody's in their own cage. They don't know how to break out of it. But we truly believe that there's, God does give us victory over whatever tries to come against us. But it's going to take a warrior type of mindset. So that's what I was going to ask you, James, as we kind of put it all up in a bow, so to speak. So now you're doing some of this on the side, some of the reffing on the side.
Well, I'm only reffing like 3 fights a year, but I'm reffing high school and college volleyball, and I'm reffing high school wrestling. So where I used to spend my after school time training, now I spend my afternoon time giving back to both volleyball and wrestling. And every once in a while in MMA. MMA shows are only on Saturday night, right? Where I'm reffing volleyball, high school volleyball matches like three nights a week. And then I still coach. My son is my assistant, so I coach at the local high school up here for boys only. So that's in the spring. So when we were talking about mentality and my fighter mentality, it's like I have a joke. I don't do anything half, right? Like in my fighting career, each year I tried to get a little bit better. I think my wrestling was better later after I had coached compared to when I was in community college and competing, right? So my wrestling was better. And this year I'm going to make my jiu-jitsu better. I actually have a couple wins by armbar. Nobody would have thought that from the beginning, right? So then my jiu-jitsu is better. And this year I'm making my boxing better and my kicks are better. And so each year a little bit better, a little bit better. I do the same thing with everything, like with teaching, right? About 5 years ago, I made the transition from middle school to continuation high school. They wanted somebody to start the PE program there, and then that program disbanded, and then so I end up getting surplus in elementary. And these are babies, but every year a little bit better, a little bit better. I'm so much better of a teacher, elementary school teacher, 5 years later than I was 5 years ago. So just getting a little bit better with whatever it is. You just want to keep like layering this stuff on, get punched in the mouth, and just keep going.
I love that. So listeners, I hope you're really gleaning from that comment, because, well, we thank God that, sadly we've seen some of the history of these fighters that you just brought up, Brian, but I thank God for you two, that you're in your right mind. You're, you're the grace of God, you're doing well, and you're giving back to the community. You're actually living out your fight name. You are still living that out. And I think that that's important. And then Brian, so I know we're coming in for a little bit of a landing here, but like the next 5 minutes, can you tell the listeners a little bit about how your fight career, what it transitioned to, and what you're doing now, and what Mr. Unbreakable means at this day and age for you in this time that we're in?
Well, I first want to say, I'm just, it's a really neat thing to be able to be on here with James and still have a friendship with him.
No, I agree.
After it really is. It's a really cool thing, because I remember, reaching out to you afterwards and many years ago, and just trying to keep that connection. If we ever, if I ever needed you, or vice versa, you needed me for anything, I would be there for you. So I think that's cool when you share history with somebody, and you're still be able to be friends with somebody after that, something like that. But I do like what James said, though. He's still in the game, so to speak, but he's got the mindset and the experience to make sure nobody else gets hurt. You have a true professional.
Prevent it as much as possible.
Yeah, because I've had referees that didn't even know what was going on, and I choked people out, and I told them, hey, he's out, stop the fight. I don't want to kill anybody. That's one side note. But then also, the transition from MMA to what I'm doing now, James, I don't even know if you know this or not, but we do executive protection, and we bodyguard, we protect politicians, celebrities, anybody really, and we do other things to rescue people as well.
And children, yes.
But I also noticed kind of a progression for some of the fighters that I know on my list, your list. Michael Guyman, one of them. I didn't know this, but I found out a couple of days ago that he has a security protection team, and he does security now.
Okay.
Well. So that's interesting.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. It's crazy because between me and you, we pretty much covered all of the 170-pound fighters in our era. Like we fought them all, with both of our. I have a list of all the guys.
Since you mentioned Mike Guyman, so one of the first times I met him was like backstage at one of those Saboba shows, and it was raining, and we knew of each other, but I don't know if it was him or me, but we were both fighting different people, and we went into the cage and pummeled just so we could get the feel of the wet mat before. So I worked out with a guy for like 5 minutes. He was fighting somebody else on the card, and then years later we ended up fighting.
It's such a neat thing. It's such a cool thing. I can't wait to bring you back on again, and maybe bring somebody else.
Oh, yes.
Or maybe even bring a few people that we fought and let us all talk.
Yeah, we've got a lineup here, folks. So you
should bring back Thomas. I always thought I could have a good relationship with that guy, but we just went two different directions. That would be an interesting three-way for sure.
And that's so. I want to speak on my husband's behalf, because what you are, Brian, in private, you are in public. What you are in public, you are in private, and you truly are Mr. Unbreakable. You've always said, they can try to break my bones, but they'll never break my spirit. And I'll tell you, this man, his spirit is excellent. He's got an excellent spirit. He's a good man. Many of our listeners may not even know he's an ordained pastor now. So he tells people, I don't beat the crap out of people. I beat the hell. What do you say now? I beat the
hell out of them.
Now I just beat the hell out of them.
James beat the hell out of me.
Just kidding. But I wanted to speak on your behalf, because I'm your wife, and I just have so much respect for you. You really are a fighter, and everything will be in our show notes. And as they brought up YouTube, please, we started a new YouTube channel, so go subscribe to the Way of a Warrior podcast on YouTube, and Rumble would be at the Real Gina Guy Warren on Rumble. But everything will be in those show notes. But I do want to make an announcement to all of our listeners that my husband, Brian Mr. Unbreakable Warren, will be inducted into the King of the Cage Hall of Fame in the summer of 2026. So
that's awesome.
I wanted to make that announcement. It's such an honor to be able to say that. And I know personally, honey, everything that you've been through, if you have not read Brian's book, Unbreakable Love, the Brian Warren story. And he does talk about, his focused anger, as I write about in my book. He won his first title belt when his daughter was taken from him, and his wife left him for another man and took his daughter and left. And so that was his focus. And I think about James, how you had said, I highlighted those words because I thought it was amazing how you just took your reframed that fear. Well, Brian, you reframed your anger. And, I want to say this. Many of you guys do know that we're pastors. Hey, emotions are from God. You're supposed to have them. So don't be a wackadoodle. Your emotions are there for a reason. So anger is great fuel. It's just when it's focused. So when you take whatever's troubling you, whatever's bothering you, the anxieties, the depression, whatever you're facing in life today, everything starts in the mind, because thoughts don't just happen. They start in the mind and then they manifest out through our mouths. So I just want to say, definitely I pray that you've gleaned from these men today, because I know I have. I live with a man every day. It's something different. I remember when, I first married him, and the gentleman that was one of my best friends, and he was a preacher. And he said, I told him, why isn't God giving me my husband yet? I've been single for 8 years and I want a warrior or something like that. And I think about our first week of marriage, something was hurting or something. I said, oh yeah. He said, oh, just put some dirt on it and walk away, or just shake it off.
That's what you asked for.
I'm like, why would he say that? Gina, I don't want to talk about this. You asked for a warrior and God gave you one. And I'm thankful for him. He's the most loving, compassionate. He is so absolutely amazing. But he has taught me that, with all the things, I've been preaching around the world all of my life, and I've made some enemies, right? And that's why we lost our other YouTube channel. They took me off. But let me tell you, I thank you, Brian, for you've taught me every single day to take, if the trial gets too difficult, whatever it might be, you've taught me every day, just take one step at a time. Just look at today, don't look at tomorrow. And that may sound simple, but you know what? We have enough worries. Look at what you got to do today, change your mindset. And I'll tell you, this life is not easy, but I love that we are going to be getting a lot of these warriors together. We plan on a conference as well. That's in the future, to get all of these fighters together and just do a big conference and let them all speak, and let them have training camps over the weekend or what have you. So, this is what we're doing with the Way of a Warrior. We are building a community of warriors, of like-minded people. Come on now. I don't know about you, but I can't have the women around me like, I just broke my toe, or I don't like my color nail polish I'm wearing, or my eyelashes fell off. That's not my thing. So that's all good, but I need
broken toe hurts.
Man, I'll tell you, I've seen Brian had toenail polish when I met him, and trust me, he's all man. But I realized why, because his toes were all black. But
we're toes were all broken.
It's not toenails.
I think that's how you hide the broken toe. You just
he did that. That looks kind of sexy though. I was like, wow. But that's the whole point is, ladies and gentlemen, you are all warriors. Like I read at the beginning is, hey, warriors don't look like what everybody thinks. You need to understand, if you are still alive and you have been through some, you know what? You are a warrior. And we have to glean from people who have gone to places that we've never been. We have to glean from people that have fought fights and won. The Bible says to imitate the leaders that are worth being imitated. Come on now. There's not a lot of leaders that I want to imitate. I'm just going to tell you that right now, because being authentic and being real and having your true testimony, nothing can push past that. I died 3 times on crack cocaine. So let me tell you, when I was dying in my fights, I found out Brian was in, underground fights in Mexico. When we put our worlds together and we collided them, we realized, my God, look at what God brought together. So we hope we've been literally an encouragement to everybody. James, I've heard nothing but all these things about you all these years, amazing things that my husband has said, and to get to talk to you and hear your mindset. Hey, and I'm a homeschool mom. I launched homeschool. I started schools in Africa, curriculum in Africa. I'm just big on children. That's why we have rescuerintervention.com. We rescue them. And so what you do means a lot to me. So you may think it's not that big of a deal. Listen, you are a father to someone that doesn't have a father. And I always say that we, as mothers and women, if you've never birthed a child, I don't care if you are a male or a female, you are that example to someone. You are a father or you're a mother to these children in this generation watching you. So you know what? You don't have to have all the answers. All you got to do is just be real. And I think that's what this generation is looking for, people that are real. So we want to thank you again for joining. Everything you'll need to know is in the show notes. And we look forward to episode 2 of the MMA Fighters Warrior Mindset. So make sure you're doing your notifications on our platforms so that when we go live, because that's what we're going to start doing, you'll get those notifications. So Brian, do you want to close us out with anything?
Any last words? James, you want to?
Wait, I don't know if that's right. Any last words, but maybe.
Last thing to say before, because I got one
last words. No, I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun. You know, we could, we did an hour here. We could do 5 hours probably. It was
great respect.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, bringing back up the glory days. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, James, and it's such an honor to have you on here talking about that and the mindset of a warrior. And I think we're not done. I think there's going to be a lot that we can talk again, but there's a few things that you brought out that made me want to bring up, and some of the things my wife said about pushing through. So when she talked about my my ex-wife taking my daughter, whatnot, that was the fuel that I needed to win my first belt, which is the first King of the Cage belt I've ever won. And then a couple months later, I won another Gladiator challenge. So I went 14 years with no championship belts, and something in my life drastically changed and got me to a different mindset. But it took strategy. It took something being pulled away from me to bring that fire out of me. So, I mean,
wow,
different situations.
On that note, all of our listeners, I really hope you take those words that he just spoke. I don't care how many years you have been through hell, there's always hope. And it may be that one trial that you're going through that puts you over the edge to victory and takes you literally off the playground into the battleground. And I'm telling you, there's help for you. We have a whole line of people with Truth and Love Ministries, our ministry, our nonprofit, and we help a lot of people. We help a lot of agents. They need help, right? I mean, you briefly spoke, Brian, about some of the men, sadly, where their career has ended. And what we want to do is we want to be a help to some of these men and women that don't have anybody to turn to. So we just really appreciate you guys. You can go to truthandloveministries.org and kind of, if you want, Brian speaking anywhere on any of this stuff, we're easy to get a hold of all over social media. So the Way of a Warrior, Unbreakable Love podcast. I am Gina Guy Warren, signing off with my husband, my sexy husband, Brian, Mr. Unbreakable Warren, and my new friend and brother in arms, James, the Educator Fanshier. We love you, brother. God bless you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. We'll see you again.
I'm Pastor Brian, Mr. Unbreakable Warren. This is my wife, Gina Guy Warren. Where can I find us?
Well, we are building a community of warriors and specialized mentorship. So you can go to thewayofawarrior.org. If you're in need of immediate rescue or intervention help, please visit us at rescueorintervention.com. Trauma counseling, our books, or you'd like to support our missions, please visit our nonprofit website at truthandloveministries.org. God bless you all.